this is a blessing to see this many of our employees in one place, since we're usually spread out over 542 square miles protecting the public, or in the 911 center, or doing a fire inspection somewhere. But it's an honor for me to be the director of this group. I would like to recognize our county commissioners that are here. Without y'all, this don't happen because county commissioners fund our organization, and they have supported us for the 33 years that I've been here, and I want to thank the county commissioners for that. I would like to have a special thought for the Atlantic Beach Fire Department. As y'all know, Chief Snyder got killed in a terrible accident this weekend. We are sending an ambulance down Sunday to assist them during the funeral services. Also, one of our own, Lee Davenport, had surgery today, and I think everything is going well with Lee. So, Scott, if you would do the invocation, we appreciate it.
We pray with you. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day, and we thank you for the privilege to gather, dear Lord. And we thank you so much for the privileges you give us to make a positive difference in the lives of citizens of Nash County each and every day. We pray a special prayer for Lee, dear Lord. Pray for him and his family. Pray for healing. We also pray for Chief Snyder's family and the Atlantic Beach Fire Department and his fire service family, dear Lord. We pray that you provide them comfort. Be with us now as we celebrate accomplishments of so many. And thank you so much for each and every employee and everyone that attended tonight. In your name we pray. Amen.
Well, first I thank Scott and Mark and Karen and Sherry for helping put this together. Scott, if there's others that you want to thank later, that's fine, but I know those four really worked hard. One of the special things about this is it's very difficult for us to do this. As I said, we've got staff all over the county running emergency calls probably right now. I see some that may have to get up and leave, no telling. But it is hard for us to get our staff together. And so trying to get y'all and get this many together has really been a blessing to us. As y'all know, we run thousands of emergency calls a year. The 911 center, I've got some statistics that 911, we had 83,000 calls entered in CAD in 18, 47,294 911 calls. We had 61,000 inbound phone calls, administrative, 49,000 outbound, and 158,184 total phone calls in the center. That keeps our folks pretty busy. And when they're busy, we know who else is busy. In the fire services emergency management, we did 1,131 code compliance inspections. We worked with the 83rd Civil Affairs Battalion on a huge project working on the cleaning of our waterways. We've got new employees there, Karen Smith and Tripp Bunn, which we'll be introducing shortly. Also in communications, we implemented the new radio system. Thank you again, County Commissioners, for something that's been needed for quite some time. We want to thank Scott and Kelly Portis for really working hard, and Bryant getting that up and running. And I think the fire service is generally pleased. I hope EMS is. From what I hear, the system's working great. That's quite an accomplishment in just a few months. Nash EMS, we had 26,000 EMS calls. We put the ballistic vest on our trucks this year, which again, thanks to the county commissioners, we got the funding to protect our employees. We had 155 cardiac arrests that our EMS service in 911 handled, 192 stroke patients, and 1,207 chest pains, and numerous other types of emergencies. So again, that's what y'all do. There's no need to stand up here and explain all of it, because everybody knows it's a life-saving organization, and y'all make a positive difference every day. I look back and see all the things that we've accomplished. And of course, we've got stations, we've got good ambulances, we've got good equipment. But I think everyone would agree we've got some of the best employees anywhere. And I always use the example that Darrell Edwards put me on his $6 million crane, he'd have a mess. But we put the right people in the right place, and we have an excellent service, 911, fire marshal, emergency management, and EMS. And if one day I do retire and I look back, I think that'll be my greatest accomplishment, is to know who I hired were the right folks. And I think really that's all you need when you retire, and look back and say, I put the right folks in the right place. A guy did tell me 31 years ago that, Brian, if you walk into a staff meeting and you look around at the people you hired and you're the dumbest guy in the room, you've done a good job. And I do that most all the time. I walk in and I ask for advice, and I get advice from my employees, and I know it's going to be good advice. And I know when I hear pager activate, our employees are going to do right. If I hear a phone ring in the communication center, it's going to be done right. And the fire marshal's office works with our business community. There's a lot of places I hear folks say, well, let's go in there and make it tough on that business. All we want to do is to make it right. And we'll work with that business to make sure it's done right, so the folks that come in those businesses are safe and the employees are safe. So again, this night is recognition of the employees of Nash County Emergency Services, and I personally want to thank you for each of the ones that are here tonight and the others that couldn't be. Scott, I think you've got some names that you need to call out. Some are very difficult. Scott asked me if I wanted to pronounce the names, and I said, no, Scott, you go ahead and do it. So,
pleasures of my position. It is quite an honor to do it, though. And the first thing I'd just like to say before we start is I just thank you so much for being here, and thank you for coming. When we put everything together, it wasn't that difficult to get it all together, but my one biggest fear, I kept telling Karen, is nobody's going to show up, nobody's going to show up. So I was scared to death. So thank you so much for being here. And I know each and every one that will be recognized tonight appreciates your attendance as well. So we're going to begin tonight with the first individuals we would like to recognize as our service award recipients. Nash County recognizes its employees that have completed 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and sometimes even 40 years of service with Nash County. Each recipient is awarded a certificate and pin for each milestone. Those receiving 20 years plus are recognized by the county commissioners in open meeting. Tonight, we would like to recognize our employees who have received a service award this past year. So when I call your name, if you would come forward and line up across the front so that we can recognize you. 5 years of service, Christy Braswell. Randall Lamb. Kizzy Taylor. And Jacob Manning. 10 years, Bill Trimmer. Michael Vance. And Jeremy Bunn. "15 years, Troy Bobbitt and Keith Wood. "20 years, Scott Struth. And 25 years. Some of these people are getting a little old. Lee Davenport, which certainly couldn't be with us. Jamie Moss. David Talbot. Got somebody coming the other day. And Brent Fisher. Thank you to these ladies and gentlemen for your service to Nash County, and let's give them one more round of applause. Because this is the first time we've actually done a ceremony such as this, we have many other employees that have received service awards over the years. So I'd bring your attention to the back of your program, and listed there are the other employees that have reached one of those milestones I mentioned in the past. I'd also like to point out, you will see my name there. I started when I was 11 and a half. So next, as we continue with awards, I'd like to ask our Director Brian Brantley and our Division Chiefs Scott Strufy, Brent Fisher, and Bryant Fisher to join me at the front to recognize our new hires for the previous year. So when I call your name, if you would come forward and receive your certificate, and we would also ask you to line up across the front as well. So these are in no particular order, but all of these folks that I will introduce to you were hired during 2018, and we're very glad to have those. The first is Diane Lashowski. Diane is an EMT and is currently assigned to A shift. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize, B shift. The next one is Amber Haseki. Amber is an EMT assigned to A shift. Next is Wendy Bonsi, also an EMT and assigned to B shift. But she's not with us tonight. She is in class for an advanced EMT certification, so she'll be back up next year with us. Next is Erica Chrisman, an EMT, also assigned to B shift. Max Madden is an EMT assigned to B shift. He is also in class tonight, receiving training for his paramedic certification. Next is Tevin Coppage. Tevin is an EMT assigned to B shift. Nathaniel Stevens. Nate Collins is a paramedic assigned to B shift. David Griffin. David is an EMT assigned to C shift. Jeremy Hall. Jeremy is an EMT recently assigned to C shift. Anthony Graves. Anthony is an advanced EMT assigned to C shift. Brian Holland. Brian is also an advanced EMT assigned to C shift. Emily Lennon. Emily is also an advanced EMT assigned to C shift. Our next three are actually part-time EMTs, but also assigned to the EMS division. Nora Kassim, Samantha Mayo, and Ashley Wiggins. We have also have a couple of new hires in our fire marshal and EM division. Chris Jenkins is a deputy fire marshal assigned to the fire and EM division. I think he is coaching baseball tonight. And we also have part-time deputy fire marshal Trip Bunn, who is also assigned to the fire and EM division. And in the 911 division, we have Anna Smith. Anna is a telecommunicator in 911 and is currently assigned to B shift. Let's give all these individuals a round of applause. We wish you many, many years of success here in Nash County. You may sit down. Next tonight, we'd like to recognize a few individuals who have received advanced certification over the last year. Again, when I call your name, if you would come to the front to be recognized. First is in the EMS division, Morgan Tyson received her advanced emergency medical technician certification. Talia Martin received her paramedic certification. Jeff Joyner. Jeff also received his paramedic certification. Sam Pridgeon. Sam received his paramedic certification. And last but certainly not least in EMS is Emily Lennon, who received her advanced emergency medical technician certification. In the Fire and EM division, Chris Jenkins completed his Level 3 Fire Inspector certification, as well as receiving Fire Officer 3 certification from the North Carolina Fire and Rescue Commission. Lewis Smith. Lewis also received his Fire Officer 3 certification from the North Carolina Fire and Rescue Commission. And Trip Bunn likewise received his Fire Officer 3 certification. And in the 911 division, Emily Wichard received her Certified Training Officer credential. And Anna Smith, you might want to sit down for this one, but Anna received her certification as an emergency medical dispatcher, emergency police dispatcher, emergency fire dispatcher, as well as completing the ICS training and DCI certification. She has been very busy. If I was a little better at math, I would have done a little calculation to see just how many hours of training that we're recognizing tonight. But I know that it's a lot, so we certainly appreciate your dedication and hard work, and wish you the best. Thank you. Give them one more round of applause. And the last group of individuals for tonight to be recognized is those receiving promotions in the last year. So again, when I call your name, if you would come forward. All of the promotions that we had in 2018 were actually in the EMS division, which is certainly our largest. We had 4 station officer promotions and 2 field training officer promotions. A station officer serves as a senior medic on a crew and is responsible for the crew, the EMS unit they are assigned, and the station they are assigned to for that shift. A field training officer not only fills the roles of a station officer, but also is assigned new hires to train, and each one has a clinical specialty that they monitor. So when I call your name, please come forward. Paramedic Randall Lamb is promoted to station officer. Paramedic Travis Green was promoted to station officer. Paramedic Avery Faulkner, promoted to station officer. And Paramedic Dalton Barrett, promoted to station officer. Paramedic Brandon Holloman, promoted to field training officer. Right. Brandon was a station officer paramedic and has been promoted to field training. Station Officer Crystal Wright, who is also a paramedic, has been promoted to field training officer. Let's give him one more round of applause. So while I have you, Mike, I just would please let me say to you that I am so proud to work with this group of people. As Brian said in the beginning, really nothing we do makes any difference if it's not for the great employees and great people that we have surrounding us, and it is a true honor and pleasure to work with each and every one of you, and I appreciate all that you do. So I'm going to turn it back over to Brian this time.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you. Well, again, it's an honor to have so many employees. A lot of times when I see these employees, they're just sitting across in front of my desk asking for a job. And it's just me and the division chief and them. And I was thinking today that every employee that works here, I either was the assistant director or the director that hired every employee. And I'm proud of every one of them we've got. So again, that's an accomplishment that I'll treasure, you know, the day I do go home and retire, which some people think it's time for me to do anyway. But again, it is putting the right people in the right place is so important. And we have done that. We have, I don't want to pick out on Dale Tippett, he's standing back there in the back. Dale's got probably 28 to 29 years. Y'all saw 3 battalion chiefs with over 25 years. Wasn't it 3? Yeah, 3 battalion chiefs. And Brent with over 25 years. And these new people that you saw promoted are going to be the future leaders of this organization. We have implemented an in-house management training program. Scott is sort of heading that up for us. We've had numerous instructors. But we've got to prepare our organization for the future. It is, the county is growing. It is, if you just look around at the things that are taking place, people are coming to Nash County, thanks to a lot. And I did want to say to the employees, we have, I think, 6 county commissioners at this. And I know Ms. Richardson has had some health issues or with her knee, so that may be why she's not here. But I'm very honored to have 6 county commissioners here to help honor our employees. And I feel like let's give them and we don't want to talk about money, but I will. You know, we've got employees here that are not here for the money, but it don't hurt. And we've had some employees, I'm looking at one right now that's smiling at me, that the county commissioners gave a 5% raise last year. And there's been some discussion of one coming this year. When I was interviewing him, that had a real important role because he's got a family with children. And that has made a huge difference for our employees, that the raise that y'all gave to the employees. And again, thank you to the commissioners for that, because we can't get it without them. But that does matter. Our telecommunicators work nights, days, 12-hour shifts. Branch staff is called out 24/7 to help fire departments respond to incidents, to investigate fires. EMS employees that are on the 24-hour shift work 2,912 hours a year, 2,912 hours. My schedule is 2,080. The average employee works 2,080 hours a year. If you're on our 24-hour shift, you work 2,912. So they certainly do earn their salary. But again, thank you to the commissioners for that. And I think the last thing I'd like to do is thank the families of the people that work for us. When somebody's away from you 2,912 hours a year, that means somebody's looking after home. And that is something that we cannot forget. Without the support of our families and friends, we would be in serious trouble. The telecommunicators, every other weekend they're working. Their significant other or the spouse is looking after children. Again, when branch staff get up in the middle of the night and leave, it's tough. So again, thank y'all for what you do. Thank the families for what y'all put up with. Thank the commissioners again for what they do. And what we are planning to do now is go across the hall unless somebody has something they want to say. I always like to go somewhere where they offer you something to say. Chairman Davis.
Thank you, Brian.
Yes, sir.
Brian asked me when I came in the door, would I like to say a few words, and I said, Brian, I really think it'd be nice to go to an event like this and not say anything. But as I listened to the awards given out on behalf of our board, I think our board would very much like to thank each and every one of you. I would like to get our commissioners to stand up for just a moment if I could. I'm not going to make you come up here with me or ask you to can't make you do anything. But I think if you look at it, Mr. Outlaw's not going to like this, you'll understand that each year this organization gets a little bit more important to the Board of Commissioners. And I don't say that lightly because yesterday was my 67th birthday. And I'll tell you, each year this organization does become more and more important to the citizens of Nash County, particularly ones of us that now have more than 50 candles on our cake, and majority of us do. So you can sit down if you want to. You don't have to. All I can sit down. Sue Leggett is our newest commissioner, and want to welcome her on our board and to let each one of us see her. But as you were talking about the money, Brian, and what commissioners have been able to do for you, we never do as much as we want to for our employees.
I got to go to church, so I don't have to leave.
Okay, Mr. Bell, he doesn't like hearing me talk anyway. But in our review for last year, I am pleased to say that we were a little bit different than some counties or most of the counties. In our budget, we give 27% of our revenue each year to our school system. Right behind that, we give 26% to our social services department or human services department. But then right behind that at 25% is public safety, which consists of the people in this room as well as our sheriff department. That percentage gap between those three in Nash County is higher than in most counties in North Carolina, I'm pleased to say. So I just want you to know that our board puts a lot of emphasis on trying to fund y'all to the level that we can. And as far as the comment about the 5% that has been talked about for this year, it's really not been talked about. We did that last year, Brian, so that will be.
I reckon say that.
Last year, at the time we gave the 5%, we knew we were behind due to the economy that we had been through, and all of us were scared to death of what reval looked like. But we were pleased to do that 5% and guarantee the other 5% that will be coming forth in July. But again, thank you on behalf of our board for everything that everybody in this room does, and if any of you want to visit me on your time off, I appreciate it. I just hope you don't come down the driveway to see me. Thank you.
Thank So y'all heard it. And I guess if there was anybody against that, the commissioners would have spoken up. So again, thank you for the 5% that seems to be coming. Mr. Outlaw, did you have anything you wanted to say?
No, sir, Mr. Davis did very well with his comments, as he normally does. I enjoy listening to him. Except his old age comments.
Well, I think that's all we have for in here, and I believe we're going to move across the hall. And I want to thank Karen and Sherry specifically for that part. I don't believe Scott and Mark had much to do with that. They wouldn't let them have anything to do with it. So I guess unless any employee have anything to say, now's a good time to say it.
We thank y'all for that 5% raise too.
Absolutely. And again, I hope our employees know that the management team is there for you. Our door is open. It's always been an open door policy for us. Glad to say that I feel like that policy is working for us. And again, as the guy said, hire the right people, put them in the right place, and you'll be fine. And I think we've done it. So thank you, and let's move over to the eating area.